supposedly Kennedy ordered the agents off the back of the limousine.
No, he had nothing to do with that. For the record of history, that is false.
President Kennedy, very nice man, not difficult to protect, did not order the agents off the back of the car.
Was the back of Kennedy's head really gone?
Yeah.
It was? Okay.
He had no brain left. He was blown out. I video little those things out of the car.
Yet the photos and x-rays from the autopsy clearly tell a different story. Even more alarming is what happened inside the Secret Service car directly behind the president's limousine once shots rang out. Shift leader Emory Roberts would give an order to the other agents in the car.
When the assassination begins, he orders the men not to move. Sam Kinney, the driver of the FOB car, who's right beside him, confirmed to me that this happened. He ordered the men not to move at the beginning of the assassination.
Emory Roberts supposedly ordered the men not to move.
That's exactly right.
These men were sworn to protect the president, to dive in front of a bullet if need be, to sacrifice their body. And you mean to tell me this man is going to order them to cease and desist when the shooting begins?
Another line of protection for the president that wasn't used was the limousine's bubble top.
The bubble top was a plexiglass covering that was put on the car, the presidential limousine. The conventional wisdom that it was bulletproof or bullet resistant. Turns out it was not bulletproof or bullet resistant in the standard way we think of that. However, it was a psychological deterrent because most people assumed it was bulletproof.
Popular belief has it that the limousine's bubble top was not used for two reasons. One, because what started as an overcast and dreary day turned sunny and clear.
The actual films and photos of several motorcades shows the bubble top on in the brightest weather conditions imaginable. So there's a myth that it was only on there for inclement weather. Not true. And the bottom line, what the bubble top would have done is it would have obscured an assassin's view via the sun's glare.
The second reason most often given as to why the bubble top had not been used is that the president had requested not to use it.
But I spoke to the agent who was the driver of the follow-up car, Sam Kinney. Sam Kinney adamantly on 3 different occasions told me that President Kennedy had nothing to do with it. It was solely his responsibility.
Supposedly, JFK said, I'm quoting now, get that goddamn bubble top off of us. That is not true.
And I saw the president grab his neck. And then by that time, there was 2 falling shots, just like a pow, pow. Because it was raining and we were trying to make a decision whether to leave the bubble top on or off.
Yeah, Sam Kinney down in Florida.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
How did you say you were up there in Pittsburgh, for Christ's sake, breathing your rear end off?
Yeah, I know. Oh, I tell you, it's something else up there.
Yeah.
Good.
Bad winter. I'm sitting out on the patio down here.
Hey, you know what, sir? If you want to, I can call you right back. It's no problem. Secret Service agent between years 1954 and 1973, and he alleges that there was Russian involvement in the Kennedy assassination, and he goes into a lot of detail about John Norris. He said he worked in the executive office building, and he was also a former FBI agent, worked in the fingerprint division at one time.
Don't know him. I've been in the White House in 1951.
Oh, so well, from what, 51 to what, mid-60s, or?
Well, I was in there Truman. Young.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's crucial then. Maybe that says somebody's credibility. You're not familiar with that name then?
Anyway, White House Police. Name is John Norris.
You know what? I'm wondering if I'm just saying, about casting aspersions to this gentleman, maybe he might be exaggerating his role. He claims to be a Secret Serviceman, but maybe, that's happened before, where people take a germ of the truth and...
Technically, he is.
Oh, because there was the uniform division, huh?
Right.
Okay, that's a
In fact, one of my best buddies right down here within 15 miles, he's in Pittsburgh, and he was a uniform branch.
Oh, really? Yeah.
John Friel. You wouldn't know him because he, at one time, was a Pittsburgh Pirate pitcher.
Oh, really?
Pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates back when they made about $6,000 a year.
Oh, Jesus, that is a long time ago. Now they make that... No, I'm only 27.
27.
Yeah.
How did you get my number?
Yeah, I think it could be because of that book, More to Wear, or because it showed your name in there.
Yeah, that's true. And matter of fact, I tried to squelch that book.
Oh, that book is ridiculous.
George Hickey was a very good friend of mine, and he was working with me. He and I went to Dallas together.
Is that true that he was the one responsible for finding the coconut, the PT-109?
That is, well, no, not finding. He's the one that turned it over to Kennedy.
Yeah, that's what I did hear that right then.
Paul, and I hate to tell you that because I really don't know the story up, and I want to tell you some very, very few people. I don't think there's another agent in their service that knew that, except me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what? That's funny you mentioned that too, because there were some documents that came forward from the National Archives as part of this JFK Legislation Act, and they're real piecemeal. A lot of them are scratched out for whatever reason. The bad, really bad photocopies. But make a long story short, one of them was about George Hickey and his personal background, and one of the things it says is that supposedly he was involved in the PT-109 story, and then it had like little piecemeal details. One of the things it said.
He was, and he did, nobody knew that until George Hickey was an agent for probably 3 years before anybody ever knew that.
Oh my gosh.
Kennedy had a very unique memory.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you met Kennedy, he would know you 2 years from now, 3 years from now, or maybe never forget you.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that too. Speaking of like agents, like feelings about Mr. Kennedy and that, one thing I found that it's not true, being a young person, you have to rely on secondary sources a lot of times in books.
Incidentally, that's why I'm like to talk to you, because I have about 5 guys right now under 30 that have called me and asked me questions, and whether I'm as reliable as anybody else is unlikely.
Oh, I appreciate that, sir. Yeah, that's good. That's why, what I found out?
I don't claim to know everything either.
Oh, no, yeah. You know what it boils down to, Mr. Kinney? I'll tell you what, I got so frustrated with secondary sources.
It's Sam.
Sam, you like that? Okay. Sam, you know what it is? It's because these secondary sources are like, you cannot rely on them at all. One of them things, Jim Bishop, the day Kennedy was shot, he claims that Gerald Bain and Floyd Warren were not popular with the president, and that doesn't appear to be true at all.
That is absolutely, positively false.
Okay, and see, many people bought that hook, line, and sinker. A lot of people repeated that in articles and so forth, that there was tension in the White House because of that. And see, it starts out with a bad fact or bad supposition, and it spreads from there. One of the other things I found out interestingly enough is there's no truth to this thing about supposedly Kennedy ordered the agents off the back of the limousine.
No, he had nothing to do with that.
I figured that, because you know what? William Manchester makes the claim that Floyd Boring was allowing anyone, especially yourself, to look at these rules.
Who was this you were talking to?
William Manchester.
Oh, okay, I talked to William Manchester. He called me on the book.
Yeah, that book is just filled with things.
That is for the record of history, that is false because Jerry Bain knew him very well. You're getting back. I don't know anybody now. They're all gone. I've been retired so long that people came in after me as retired.
Okay, yeah.
And Jerry Bain was a very good friend. Matter of fact, he was my boss at the White House. And Floyd Boring, he's still alive. Jerry Bain passed away last year, I believe. And Floyd Boring and JFK got along perfect.
Yeah, I can't believe, you know what I'm saying? The tremendous damage these books have done, because what happened was, after the Warren Commission, everybody was waiting, I guess, during the 60s for the Manchester and Bishop books, and when people read them, they figured, hey, it must be true, it's in print, and ever since that time, people have been using those as source books, if you notice the bibliographies, and unfortunately, I can't tell you how many times that those myths have been repeated about Secret Service tension with JFK, and also the thing about the agents on the limo, and yeah, now I've got more confirmation on it.
There has never been, in my history, any more rapport with the President of the United States other than possibly Harry S. Truman.
Yeah, that was another one they said.
Harry S.
Yeah.
Truman was a jewel just like John F. Kennedy was.
Yeah, they said the only thing that caused
I don't really have too much faith in that.
no, it's bad. Oh, believe me, I'm not putting any stock into it. Just yeah.
Read him put a hell of a stock.
I'm finding that out. I tell you what, Sam, it's getting to that point.
That this is true.
No, and I tell you what, I get people that argue with me about this. That, oh, come on, Kennedy was one of the most tough to protect presidents. He always ordered the men off the back of the limo, and now I'm finding out that's not true. You know, because they say they make a big play about supposedly Ford.
President Kennedy was one of the easiest ones to ever protect, and this is why most, I would say 99% of the agents, and I even like to go 100, but I like to leave the leeway, like to, you know, let me leave room for the higher score.
Right.
He was one of the best presidents ever to control.
Okay.
Trusted everyone.
Boy, I tell you, this is amazing. Then I guess William Manchester got away with it at the time because he was such a highly touted journalist, and he had sort of that Kennedy authorization to do this book, and it just escalated from there.
Jack.
Yes, yeah.
And of course, Mrs. Kennedy, how she ever got to Dallas is beyond me.
Yeah.
I've seen her only once since then, you know, set face to face.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we both ended up here.
How was that like, talking to her?
Well, I don't know how to put it. I love the guy. I love the Kennedy family. I really did. I don't know how to put it. I love the guy. I love the Kennedy family. I really did. It's, how you put it? It's just
Yeah, that's traumatic.
family, except the financial and the background. She probably wouldn't want to come over to my patio, you know.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, they probably would if they were invited.
that time, yeah.
And the Colazo, the guy that just passed away here about a week or two ago, or 3 weeks before, I don't know.
Yeah.
Recently. I stood guard over him in the hospital.
Oh my God, so you really do go back, boy, that's a lot of history you've lived through, boy.
I haven't lived through any of the presidents.
Yeah, but still, that's a lot of rich history. You know, a lot of people come and go, and they've never, you know, experienced a lot of stuff that you gentlemen have. Well, that's tremendous.
You know, when I went to the White House was being renovated.
That's at the time that he was living in Blair House because of that, yeah.
You're right. That's where the assassination took place.
Right. Yeah. You know, that's a good question. Get to the heart of the matter. One thing about all this controversy and that, well, one thing that came out in these documents, is it true, were you responsible for the bubble top going on the car?
I was.
You were, okay. Because one of the things that makes out is that supposedly, here again, JFK said, get that, I'm quoting now, get that goddamn bubble top off unless it's raining. There was that comment.
That is not true. George Hickey and I were in Dallas the night before it happened. And it was raining. And now they were staying in Fort Worth.
Right.
We had gone to Dallas the night before with the cars. I had my own airplane. C-130. It was pouring down rain. And it's only about a 10-minute flight. It takes about 20 minutes, you know, to get airborne and get your flight battery and come in. And right before he came in, Hickey and I had gone in and made the mom checks on the car, and I walked out the door and I said, the sun is shining, and that's it. Top stays off, because we were down there on the floor, they couldn't move.
Okay, so you know what? Because here again, I tell you what, these books are just unbelievable. They make it, here's another thing too, it's a related matter. They also make it sound like Forrest Sorrells ordered the bubble top off.
Who?
Forrest Sorrells,
Forrest Sorrell, I know him very well. He's the agent in charge of Dallas. He had nothing to do with it.
Okay, very good. Yeah, because
I am the sole responsibility of that.
okay, because Jim Lehrer, you can remember him, he came up with a book called A Bus of My Own, and he claims that he heard Forrest Sorrells.
2,000 books written on him.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Oh, I believe you, sir. Oh, yeah.
That's us guys.
Oh, I believe it. Oh, no, believe me, I was believing 10 times, 100 times more than I would these books. I'm just saying, for the record, what it is it's unfortunate because, you know, people are going to be reading these books instead of, you know, taking the time to do any primary research, and unfortunately, they're going to think, oh, well, hey, that makes sense to me. Kennedy didn't want the bubble top off, and so forth, and, you know, not that there's anything sinisterly, you know, the bubble top wasn't even bulletproof. I mean, that's a dodge either way, but just for what it's worth, you know, history has proclaimed that he was very authoritarian, and
The only thing that bubble top may have made a difference is may have distorted Oswald's aim.
yeah,
Possibly a ricochet.
yeah, it is deflection. It just depends on how. Yeah,
But this top cost $40,000, and if we'd have started out with that top on, all of a sudden we got downtown and we would have had to remove it, then we would have had to taken it off because it comes in 7 pieces, put it on the sidewalk and drop the nation off with it to watch it. You'd be surprised what souvenirs, like flags, anything that the president's got end up in pieces.
oh my gosh.
The souvenirs. So this is why the top was off, and it, like I say, the only preventative measure, the only possible thing has been maybe you couldn't have got a bag.
Very good. You know, you just cleared that all up now because, yeah, because I don't know what, see, Jim Lehrer, I don't know if I can be fair to him or not, but he wrote a fictional book on the Kennedy administration, and a chapter was devoted, it's all fictional, he even admits it's fictional, about the Kennedy assassination, but then the next year he comes out with this book on his career that alleges to be true, and he only devotes 1 page to those events, and he claims that he heard Forrest Sorrell say this, and at the same time there's those other books that claim that it's Kennedy's decision, and then I see this article that says that you were responsible, so it's like, you know, you almost don't know what's going on here, you know, it seems so weird to get all these conflicting stories.
You know, that's one of my 30-year concerns, whether I made the right decision or not, and I have decided that if we were going there tomorrow, I'd do the same thing.
Oh, yeah, well, it's the same thing, you know, it says that, in the same book, it says that Winston Lawson has regrets about the motorcade route. I don't know quarterbacking or not. It's really hard to say.
No, that is not also not true. We had problems because I was with Win Lawson. It was just a very good friend of mine, and he took it very hard. We all took it very hard.
Oh, I can imagine so.
We lost the game. We hadn't lost the president, you know, in our entire career.
Right.
And so we all took it. And this is why it's hard for me to, and incidentally, the reason that I haven't taken it, now this could go into print, the reason that I haven't been hurt as much as I have is because I've been willing to talk about it.
Oh, it's like a vent. Yeah.
I talk about it.
Whereas other people don't. They're very hush-hush.
Young people that are interested.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah.
Born when this happened.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I was very nervous calling you. I didn't know how.
You're not the only one because I have a young fellow in Alabama.
There's also been something made about Emory Roberts about the fact that he recalled John Reddy and supposedly this once has ordered the men not to move. Like
Exactly right, and I'm involved with that too. The Emory Roberts is also dead now, and he can't stand up for what he said. But the fact of the matter is, they couldn't have done it because I had to swing to the right in order. When Clint Hill hit me on the arm, he was standing right at the left running board of my arm, and he hit me on the arm and said, "I'm hitting him," which tells me he's going to jump off the moving car and go for the president. Well, if you don't think it's difficult, get your car running about 30 miles an hour, 25 or 15, and try to jump off and run.
okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yes,
And
yeah.
the back step of that Lincoln would be in the front of directly in front of me. I had brain matter all over my windshield and arm.
Oh my gosh.
That's how close we were.
You know, it was something that.
When he said, "I'm hitting it," I laid to the right to line him up to the back of the presidential, and to be a fact, but I know it was a fact at one time. He was a teacher in the University of West Virginia on American history.
Oh my gosh.
Now, how would you like to be in this position with your dad going down in history books as the one that should kill the president?
Jeez.
I've known Richard ever since he was 3 years old, or practically born, and I haven't talked to him since. But still, I am a father myself, and I've gone through lots of publicity, good and bad.
So, you mean to tell me he's very much aware of that allegation about Bill Greer shooting the president, that stupid tabloid story?
Oh, yes. I mean, you know,
I'd like to know how they get that, because you know what it is? That's Roy Kellerman's forehead that they're alleging is a gun. It's so silly. They say there's a Bruder film, it's a blurry copy, and they're making that Roy Kellerman's forehead in the film to be the gun. It's so ridiculous.
it is.
So, you mean to tell me he's very much aware of that allegation about Bill Greer shooting the president, that stupid tabloid story?
Oh, yes. I mean, you know,
I'd like to know how they get that, because you know what it is? That's Roy Kellerman's forehead that they're alleging is a gun. It's so silly. They say there's a Bruder film, it's a blurry copy, and they're making that Roy Kellerman's forehead in the film to be the gun. It's so ridiculous.
it is very ridiculous.
Yeah, it just...
Roy Kellerman, well, every one of them involved down there were very, very good friends of mine. And I'm not covering them up because they were. And I'm going to tell you another thing. We have never discussed this together.
That's a shame, because other than the Mortal Era book we all brought together, I've never seen it where
We have discussed it at some of our conferences. And,
is Jerry Bain, when he was alive, did he ever get together with you guys? And,
I've seen him lots of times, but Jerry Bean doesn't know anything because he wasn't there.
yeah, that's the thing. You know what? That's another good thing. You know what? Another thing I found out too, that supposedly Floyd Boring had a lot to do with the behind the scenes in the Texas trip. He was planning something. I mean, he gave out assignments and that. You don't see his name too much in the literature, but some documents that came forward with planning documents and assignments that on the Miami trip,
Maryland major deadfall.
Right.
But anyhow, we went out the night before and was pulling down signs and we checked the routes.
Yeah, that's a very good question. To keep up with what you're saying, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, Sam, but to say, follow up your line of thinking, because one thing we never got back to was about the motorcade route, about the regrets and so forth. Why did they just go main to industrial? Going straight would have made sense when you think about it.
The most direct route. See, when we turned to go on to the Parkway, we had just given the 5-minute signal that we would be arriving at the trademark in 5 minutes.
Right, yeah.
And see, when you get into the grassy green knoll, deposit store, we don't know anything about that.
Right.
We do this every day.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
You know, and my God, it'd be impossible to.
You can't check all those bills. That'd be impossible. The logistics, yeah, especially back that time, you know.
Should have had that checked. We should have had that open window. But what are you going to do? Are you going to stop? See a window open? Are you going to stop and let him sit there still?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Keep moving. Hell, they have that problem every inaugural in Washington, D.C.
Oh yeah, that's just one of those things you live with, yeah.
About every third guy in Washington, D.C. on the inaugural has a gun on him. He's a policeman from Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Harrisburg, you know.
Well, you know, one thing I noticed something interesting here again, relying on these documents, which may or may not be correct, but one thing, it says that basically they were going to go straight down Main Street until the 18th when David Grant came from Florida, then the motorcade route was changed. Now, I don't know if there's any...
I know Dave Grant, and I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's just supposedly these dogs, let me
There
get
are two routes. One of them was through the, how should I say, you got to be careful today. That's the undesirable part of town was our escape route. And we chose, and the crowd came out, and we got a better reception there than we ever thought we would. And the president was very pleased, and so was Governor Connolly. Governor Connolly, his statement, from the time it happened to the time that he passed away, is very accurate. He was killed by the second shot.
Yeah. I agree.
I saw all 3 shots hit.
Yeah, that's a good question about that, too. You know what? You've probably been asked this a million times over. What do you think? You think it was definitely just a Oswald did it, no conspiracy thing?
I think there was a conspiracy, but that's just me. And half the guys, my friends that I just mentioned, like I say, we've never really talked about it, but I don't think they agree with me.
Okay, but you at least, you think it was just one shooter that day as far as...
One shot. Yeah, one shooter. I think Oswald did the 3 shots. There was only 3 shots fired.
Yeah, well, you know one thing, though, the night the limousine came out, I noticed here again, relying on these documents and that, it's just what Floyd Boring, Paul Materney, and yourself went over the limousine. And now there's a report by Charles Taylor and Harry
Floyd
Gay.
Boring wasn't even in Dallas.
Yeah, oh no, I mean as far as when the limousine came back from, from Dallas in Washington, that supposedly they found a hole in the windshield.
No, I didn't see that. I've been told the windshield was cracked. I know I went over that automobile coming home.
That must have been gory, huh? As far as...
With me.
Yeah.
George.
How was that like going out? I mean, that must have been pretty tough to do, huh? I mean,
It was. And matter of fact, which I told the Today Show, which wasn't announced, and I told them when they came down here to interview, I said, I'm going to tell you some things that hasn't been
Really? Yeah. Yeah.
He was one hell of a man. I got his picture hanging on my wall, along with the president, and I thought just as much of him as them.
Well, you know, one thing George Berkeley said in 1983, he called up the author in Boston and said he believed there was a conspiracy, but when the guy called him back to try to get any kind of information further, he refused to discuss the matter, and that's the only thing on record where George Berkeley had any kind of, doubts about official history. That's Henry Hertz book, Reasonable Doubt. And, I don't know if George Berkeley just felt inquisitive to call this guy, or...
He insulted Admiral Berkeley.
Yeah, because supposedly at the autopsy he said, don't do this, here again they're claiming that he was ordering people around what to do, what not to do.
Well, you gotta order people around. You gotta be there to understand the, I don't want to say excitement, the turmoil, is the best word I guess. I gotta give the Dallas police, I gotta give the medical staff there all kinds of praise, which they don't give us. That was a hell of a situation for a doctor to come from emergency room to have the President of the United States brought in.
Well, was the back of Kennedy's head really gone?
Yeah.
It was? Okay. Because sometimes they try to say,
He had no brain left. It was blown out. I said he'll unload him out of the car.
Jesus.
There was nothing left.
But it was centered right in the rear of the head, though, as far as the missing part.
In the back of the head, as far as I'm concerned. I saw his head, and I saw his hair come out.
Yeah.
And at that time, I didn't see the fragment of his skull, but I had that in my pocket coming over.
Jesus.
Like a piece of flower pot.
Boy.
Thing is a pin.
God. Then he said he didn't feel any pain. He said surgeons said that something like that he would never do would hit you.
He would have survived the first one, probably.
Yeah.
And then in the second shot, when he was leaning over, he had his back brace on. And when the second shot hit Conley right in the back. And I remember talking to Conley, and I've talked to Conley since then. Hell of a situation for a doctor to come from emergency room to have the President of the United States brought in.
Well, was the back of Kennedy's head really gone?
Yeah.
It was? Okay. Because sometimes they try to say,
He had no brain left. It was blown out. I said he'll unload him out of the car.
Jesus.
There was nothing left.
But it was centered right in the rear of the head, though, as far as the missing part.
In the back of the head, as far as I'm concerned. I saw his head, and I saw his hair come out.
Yeah.
And at that time, I didn't see the fragment of his skull, but I had that in my pocket coming over. Like a piece of flower pot.
Boy.
Thing is a pin.
God. Then he said he didn't feel any pain. He said surgeons said that something like that he would never do would hit you.
He would have survived the first one, probably.
Yeah.
And then in the second shot, when he was leaning over, he had his back brace on. And when the second shot hit Conley right in the back. And I remember talking to Conley, and I've talked to Conley since then. And after that, Governor, I'm the one to call you a son of a bitch. I wondered who that was, but I knew I had to be taken out of here before he could get the President. Very gracious guy, Governor Tom.
Yeah, it's a shame. He passed away of pneumonia, I guess, last year, yeah.
Yeah, they were nice people.
He came out with a book. He was the person writing a book when he passed away, and it came out a few months ago. Were you aware of that?
No.
Yeah, it's a good book. He goes into detail. I don't know if it's for the first time or not, because it's detail about that day and about his. He was Secretary of the Treasury under the Nixon administration, and
He ended up our boss.
yeah, isn't that ironic? That is amazing. Yeah, he says Clint Hill was one of his best friends.
That's right.
Boy, that's something else.
Sam Hill's one of my best friends.
Yeah, and the thing with Clint Hill, I just couldn't believe how much guilt he. That Mike Wallace interview in 1975 on CBS, he cried and he just felt so much guilt over the whole thing.
I'll tell you something. I can add something to that. We were concerned about Clint Hill. Clint Hill was going to resign in the Johnson administration, and I talked to Clint and I said, you don't want to do this. Don't resign. Well, he got hit hard. He and George ruined George Hickey. George Hickey today is, the last time I called him, he wouldn't even talk to me.
Is it because of that mortal error book?
Yeah.
Is that more what he's going to go down in history as one of the suspects, huh?
Yeah. And I talked to the publisher of that book for 45 minutes on the phone.
And what did they do? They didn't care. They just wanted to make some money, I guess, huh?
They had my name in it.
Yeah, I know. You were in there. They talked about the letter you sent, and they could have contacted. We didn't understand. Is George Hickey suing them? He should. I don't know.
That was the last time I talked to George Hickey. He called me and he said, "Thanks a lot, Sam, for helping me."
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
And, the bottle's got him.
Okay.
We've been trying to get him help, and
Yeah, that's a horrible
we
thing.
got Clint, and we got him straightened out now, and he's doing great.
Oh, that's good. That's real good to hear, actually.
Very good to hear.
You know, Clint Hill, by the way, an interesting update on Clint Hill on TV. When 60 Minutes did their 25th anniversary, they showed a clip of Clint Hill today. And supposedly for the first time in all those years, he visited Dealey Plaza with his wife. He says to get the demons out of him or something, so to speak.
Well, I can believe that because I have never been back there. I've been in Dallas, but I've never been back to Dealey Square.
Yeah. Oh, that must be it.
I don't read a lot of the books because I get mad because of the enactment.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, because they did,
And this is history being made.
Well, yeah, I tell you what, it's just what it is, and it's scary. All the things I've told you that you can't believe about it, they're in print, and that's the unfortunate thing. It's good because maybe this article I'm going to do now, maybe this will set a lot of things straight, which is very good, because, I have no respect for Manchester and Bishop after all the things that I found out are not true in their books. I mean, because it just makes me think that they just would try to be sensationalistic, because John Kennedy's no longer around to defend himself,
They're all Monday morning quarterbacks, and they all have made a career out of this assassination of money.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
I still believe in America, and I still believe in the ability to make money on whatever you can. But the fact of the matter is, be truthful with it.
Yeah.
Why hurt somebody?
Especially more aware.
I've had no less than 20 offers to write a book.
Oh, is that right?
But I will not do it because there are young agents that I don't even know that are still working for the President of the United States. And loyalty to me there's no money on this earth can buy loyalty.
That's very good to hear. That's good to hear in this day and age, yeah.
This is the old school of Floyd Boyne, Jerry Bain, Clint Hill. All of us old timers will not sell out for no much a kind of money. Stuart Stout?
Yeah.
No, Stuart Stout died of a heart attack. He was another very good friend of mine. He was Amy Eisenhower's first man.
Did he pass away soon after Dallas, or is that years later?
Well, it wasn't that long. I mean, Stu's been, but it had nothing to do with that. And Emory Roberts, I worked with Emory Roberts into the Johnson administration.
Okay.
Emory Roberts was press secretary, appointment secretary for Johnson, and I worked as a press off-record secretary for Johnson after the. Emory and I worked together during Johnson's administration in the White House.
Oh, so in other words, Bauman was basically
He was the J. Edgar Hoover of the Secret Service. He was in his 80s.
And the other thing, too, is Glenn Bennett of the PRS. Was that unusual that he was in the follow-up car?
Not unusual. That was his first trip.
Oh, was that his first trip? Oh, my gosh,
I knew him very well. Matter of fact, I knew him before he was an agent.
Boy, you know what, that must have been a hell of a...
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, matter of fact.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's a hell of a shocker to be on his first trip like that, boy. Boy, you talk about an introduction to tragedy and history and...
I say kid.
Right.
Nice guy.
Oh, yeah, he's jumping up to the Johnson administration. There's all sorts of, say here again, the books, they said the Secret Service hated the LBJ Ranch, and Paul Rundle of the Secret Service was the only one who could tame Johnson, they said. Is that false too? Okay.
Rupert Youngblood was the only one who could tame him.
Was Paul Rundle even an agent? Okay, there's a real name.
Good friend of mine and a nice guy.
Okay, so that is a real You know, to be fair to Johnson, boy, at the end of his administration, he called a lot of the agents out of the South Lawn of the White House and praised them and thanked them. This is amazing. That's really...
No, not really. You gotta know the guy. I fought with LBJ every day of my life.
What was he like? I bet he was a fascinating man as far as...
How do you put it?
Must have been quite a contrast to Kennedy, as far as...
Well, there's another, you got the right word, contrast, because after Kennedy and then Johnson comes in, and Kennedy came in after Eisenhower, and that was a contrast in itself. You got to learn to live and swing with that.
Yeah, you know, Jerry Bay didn't stay on long with Johnson, did he? They said they got transferred in January '65.
Rufus Youngblood.
Oh, okay.
Rufus is a good friend of mine. But, see, we tried to stay away from politics. Politics doesn't want to enter into the Secret Service.
Yeah.
I was in the protection end all my career, and all of a sudden here I am appointment secretary. Yeah, I don't need that.
Oh, okay.
I don't want it.
Wait.
I couldn't take it. I didn't like this job.
You know what, Sid? I get the feeling that you weren't aware all those years about those allegations about Kennedy's... You never heard that about supposedly Kennedy ordered the men off the limousine and all that stuff? That's been a myth.
It's false. I mean, I'm aware of what's being said, but it's false.
Yeah.
Kennedy never ordered us to do anything.
Yeah, you know, the one thing about that I can get to brings up the proverbial question to people that would say that, like agents, how come there was no agents that posted on the back of the limousine?
We had just come down Maine where the volume of the crowd was.
Right.
And Memory Roberts says, okay guys, fall back to get on a running board. I don't need that.
Oh, okay.
I don't want it. I couldn't take it. I didn't like this job.
You know what, Sid? I get the feeling that you weren't aware all those years about those allegations about Kennedy's... You never heard that about supposedly Kennedy ordered the men off the limousine and all that stuff? That's been a myth.
It's false. I mean, I'm aware of what's being said, but it's false.
Yeah.
Kennedy never ordered us to do anything.
Yeah, you know, the one thing about that I can get to brings up the proverbial question to people that would say that, like agents, how come there was no agents that posted on the back of the limousine?
We had just come down Maine where the volume of the crowd was.
Right.
And Memory Roberts says, okay guys, fall back to get on a running board. Run 20 mile an hour for Christ's sake.
Okay, I get you. Makes sense.
We're running for 3 miles.
Right.
So let's, come back and get on a running board because we're ready to hit the open highway.
Sounds good, yeah. So, you know, the other thing too is they weren't always stationed on the back of the limousine. Well, it depended on what the situation, huh?
Only when there's crowds on both sides where there's a potential run out from the crowd or whatever.
You know, one thing I noticed...
Not all people want to kill him. A person can run out from the crowd to go shake hands and not let loose.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to learn how to break the handshake.
You know what, Sam, were you on trips, because I have, there's videos of Kennedy's administration, and the most with you is that one clip of you right outside Parkland Hospital, where I guess you and Malcolm killed if you're getting the press away from the limousine.
Yep.
Yeah, that clip they showed the most.
I put that top on by myself, and that was almost
even above Kilduff? So, like Kellerman was kind of like a third stringer, so to speak.
Andy Hatcher, yeah, you're right. Andy Hatcher was underneath Kennedy, but I don't know where he was at that time.
You know what? I came across a fascinating document. It lists all the members of the Secret Service who were involved in Kennedy's decal. I don't mean in Dallas, I just mean in general. And there's been names I've never even heard of before. Bert DeFries, Dennis Halterman. Did you know Dennis Halterman?
Yep. So it's Bert DeFries.
Oh, I tell you what, his whole list here. Walter Coughlin. Coughlin.
I see him, he's still alive.
Ron Pontius.
Ron Pontius, yeah, he's still alive.
Was it Pontius? Oh, okay. Yeah, they said an interesting thing about it. He was also there when Squeaky Fromm fired at Ford.
Right.
Interesting thing here. You know another thing too is I didn't know this. Bill Payne, an agent, was in Austin with Bill Moyers.
Bill Payne, yeah, he's been dead for some time.
Oh, okay. You know, it's like, Mr. K, do you know about, Mr. I was like Sam, you like Sam, Mr. K? Yeah, I called you Mr. K, you said Sam, sorry about that. Hey, you know, one thing, were you familiar with, like, agents, they never list the agents that were in the other towns. Do you know, like, the names of the agents that were in Austin? Besides Bill Payne? That's the only name they ever list.
Austin?
Yeah. Because supposedly there were some agents that were, there was a guy named Jim Goodenough that was, in Houston.
I don't know where he was at, but there wasn't Jim Goodenough.
Let's see.
Well, here's one. You're really stretching me, Mike.
Trying to remember all these names, yeah.
Incidentally, before we got his brother last night, he called, and the company had just come.
Yeah.
One of my best buddies for 30 years, he got cancer, and he just pulled in his phone right.
Oh, really?
So I just couldn't talk to him.
Oh, no, hey, I appreciate it. It's a problem.
Well, no, but I just don't want you to think I'm brushing you off.
No, not at all. No, believe me, I appreciate the time because I just
couldn't, go talk.
Oh, no, it's very understandable. No problem at all. One of the things that was interesting at the end, the acknowledgments, he thanked Hamilton Brown for being able to contact former agents, but then he doesn't list any agents he spoke to. Did you speak to Joe Posner? Did he,
That's my knowledge.
yeah, I don't know.
Be careful who I speak to.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sure.
I don't like publicity, because it's kind of, I'm already going out on a limb and talking to you because I don't know what your purposes are.
Well, being young, too, that's...
It's a fact, and my primary thing right now is the agents that's working for Clinton have one hell of a job, and I understand the job they have.
Oh, were you on the Florida trip?
On what?
On the Florida trip down to Tampa and Miami when he came?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, boy.
Yeah, Sam Kinney down in Florida.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
How did you say you were up there in Pittsburgh, for Christ's sake, breathing your rear end off?
Yeah, I know. Oh, I tell you, it's something else up there.
Yeah.
Good.
Bad winter. I'm sitting out on the patio down here.
Hey, you know what, sir? If you want to, I can call you right back. It's no problem. Did you?
There's no problem there.
Yeah, did you? You sure?
I'm sure.
Okay.
It was all right. I thought it was what I liked about it is I was in that.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt, you were there November 22nd, 63.
In the car, and they superimposed the photo of Clint Eastwood on my running board.
Yeah, wasn't that John Reddy instead? Like where Clint Eastwood was?
Yeah.
Yeah, out of curiosity, that's another thing. Whatever happened to John Reddy after Dallas? Never hear
I've seen him.
One of the other things I found out interesting, only enough, is there's no truth to this thing about supposedly Kennedy ordered the agents off the back of the limousine.
No, he had nothing to do with that.
I figured that, because you know what? William Manchester makes the claim that back of my car.
That is false.
Yes, I found that out, and I talked to William Manchester, who lives in Connecticut, about that. He got real defensive with me. He said, all those notes are under seal, and I'm not allowing anyone, especially yourself, to look at these rules.
Who was this you were talking to?
William Manchester.
Oh, okay, I talked to William Manchester. He called me, on the book.
Yeah, that book is just filled with things.
That is, for the record of history, that is false, because Jerry Bain doing very well. You're getting back. I don't know anybody now. They're all gone. I've been retired so long that people came in after me as retired.
Okay, yeah.
And Jerry Bain was a very good friend. Matter of fact, he was my boss at the White House. And Floyd Boring, he's still alive. Jerry Bain passed away last year, I believe. And Floyd Boring and JFK got along perfect.
Yeah, I can't believe you know what I'm saying? The tremendous damage these books have done, because what happened was, after the Warren Commission, everybody was waiting, I guess, during the 60s for the Manchester and Bishop books, and when people read them, they figured, hey, it must be true, it's in print, and ever since that time, people have been using those as source books. If you notice the bibliographies, and unfortunately, I can't tell you how many times that those myths have been repeated about Secret Service tension with JFK, and also the thing about the agents on the limo. And yeah, now I've got more confirmation on it.
Has never been, in my history, any more rapport with the President of the United States other than possibly Harry S. Truman.
Yeah, that's another one.
Harry S. Truman was a Jew just like John F. Kennedy was.
Yeah, they said the only thing that caused
I don't really have too much faith in that.
No, it's bad. Oh, believe me, I'm not putting any stock into it. Just
Any damn read, you can't put a hell of a lot of stock.
I'm finding that out. I tell you what, Sam, let's get that point.
This is true.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I get people that argue with me about this. Oh, come on, Kennedy was one of the most tough to protect presidents. He always ordered the men off the back of the limo, and now I'm finding out that's not true. You know, they make a big play about supposedly Ford.
Kennedy was one of the easiest ones to ever protect, and this is why most, I would say 99% of the agents, and I'd even like to go 100, but I like to leave the leeway like this. You know, leave room for a higher score.
Right.
He was one of the best presidents ever to control.
Oh, okay.
Trust every one of them.
Boy, I think this is amazing, man. I guess William Manchester got away with it at the time because he was such a highly touted journalist, and he had sort of that Kennedy authorization to do this book, and it just escalated from there.
That's exactly.
Yeah.